Be everyone in the woods, every tree speaks through thee, O God, with glory in the woodland. On the heights is peace, peace to serve him. No, no! Why, Carl? Why? No, don't wait for me. I said don't wait. Are you deaf or just dumb? I said no. Damn you. What? When will I what? Come down the mount? Ha ha! When I am transfigured, of course. Drinking, you say? Have I been drinking? Oh yes, sir, I have been drinking, and I will continue till I am good and drunk. To hell with my doctor's orders. To hell with my stinking liver. To hell with my volcanic gut. I'd spew my innards all over this hellhole like one of Napoleon's infamous cannons. Liberté, equalité, fraternité. Viva Enlightenment, Emperor Napoleon. Oh, how I've come to hate that wretched piece. What a fool I was, letting those pompous windbags prune and cut the text like it was a French garden. Excuse me? You say you don't understand me? Oh, that's not new news. No one understands me. Why should an old fool like you be any different? Now go, you master of asses, you Karen. Take your twin nags and go to hell for all I care. Just leave me alone. Pardon? You say you want me to go. Where? Oh, I don't hear well. Deaf as a dead man. Did you say you want me to go? Home? Home? Oh, I have no home. I'm a gypsy, a gentleman of the road, a vagabond. Home? At best I run a boarding house for Alibaba and the 40 thieves, alias my servants. Home? I had an insane asylum for my good-for-nothing nephew who'd rather blow his brains out than deal with a senile uncle. Truth be told, the infamous Beethoven, the creator of so many immortal works, owns no home. He's not only deaf as a doormat and stubborn as a mule, he's damn near poor as a church mouse. And so this so-called master takes orders from the landlords. That is, till I say, the hell with you, storm out, and find myself quite homeless once again.
Yeah, Beethoven, you are no musical genius to me. Just another rotten tenant, that's what you are. You flood the place when you bathe, you howl and scream all hours of the night. By day, you bang and clatter on your untuned pianos like some crazy animal. And to top it all off, you scribble on my shutters like an imbecile. Why, people come for miles just to see your chicken scratch. It's a disgrace, that's what it is.
Come again, sir? You want me to, what? Pay you? Ha! Money. It's always about money, isn't it? Well, how much do I owe you? Oh, speak up, you praying ass. How much? Oh, I must be hearing things. Here, write the amount. Here, in this notebook. Good heavens, I got you right the first time. You swindler, you swine. You snake in the grass. Why, Judas sold Jesus for less than that. Take it. Take all of it. You survive for money now at the hour of my death. Let them bury me in that field of blood up there. If Potter's field was good enough for Mozart, surely it's good enough for me. Good riddance. Heathen. Take that and that and that and that. To hell with you. To hell with the world. May the devil ride the whole lot of you. Now B, go fetch that damn notebook. You've got sketches for your 10th symphony in there. Not to mention some highly treasonable things as well. Surely the authorities will hang me by nightfall if they get a hold of it. Stop, 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 stop. For Christ's sake, make it stop. How's a man to think with all those bats and bees and bells besieging my brain? Surely the next stop's the madhouse. Rest. I must rest. Yes, dear Lord, your most humble servant needs rest. Oh God, it's hot. It must be at the gates of hell proper itself. Why, I do believe off in the distance I hear the howling of Cerberus. Off in the horizon, I see the realms of Pluto and the engraved portals forewarning, abandon hope, all ye who enter here. Ah yes, Dante, you and I, brothers in exile, left to wander this earth all alone. Oh, woe is me, all right. What's the use? No one understood that piece either. Chimpanzee, you fat pig, you double ass. During rehearsals, even you cared nothing for the spirit that spoke to me. You only worried about your wretched fiddle. Well, to hell with you. To hell with all musicians. Praise be to God, I can't hear what those organ grinders can't play. I hear the music here, in my heart, where it matters. As for the audience, a pox on the Viennese. They have no understanding for what is true art. Rossini and all those other Italianinis are their true heroes. Belcanto, my shit stinks less than that. Why let it bother you, B? The Austrian's taste knows from nothing but brown beer, sausages, and ice cream. For me, for my Maker, for mankind to come. What weighs heavy on my heart must come out, and that alone is why I have written. You are the generalissimus of high art. Accursed be those troops who have deserted you in your noble cause. If you starved to death up here and vultures feasted upon your remains, who would even care? Your nephew? No, he never wants to see you again. Never, 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 never. So you want to be a soldier, Carl? But you say my uncle won't let me. Well, be my guest. You want to blow your brains from here to kingdom come? Do it for some noble cause in the name of God or revolution, not just to get even with me.
Napoleon fell from grace, and I arose from the dead deified. Wellington's Victory is Beethoven's greatest work. My magnum opus, God forbid. The Battle Symphony, nothing but music for the moment. Crucify me for using my art for some greater good. Hang me for helping our wounded soldiers. Flog me for prostituting my music for the masses. God knows when the war-weary Viennese spirit beckoned, I answered their prayers. Yet I should have known. The masses are turncoats, traitors, false brothers, destined to betray you before the cock crows. Deserters and devils, the whole lot of them.
A wife. If you'd only taken a wife, be at least she'd be on your side. Leonora and Eroica. Blessed be your twin creations. To think your third symphony was conceived as a tribute to Napoleon. And your one and only opera, a gift to Josefina.
Newly widowed and big with child, her fourth. How swiftly she gave birth, how quickly Napoleon moved to abolish the old order. As for me, I struggled with Leonora, the brazen child of my spirit, who proved to be the most difficult of all to bring forth into this world. God, how I worked my fingers to the bone on that overture. My reward? The curtain rose, and Leonora No. 2 was accompanied by blood-curdling screams and the rat-a-tat-tat of the French army marching through Vienna. With Batarians, my ass, a pack of rabid dogs was more like it. My audiences ran for their lives with Josefina leading the pack. God, how badly mistaken I was about the two of them, and yet, with the whole world upside down, we went on playing to empty houses, or worse, to a theater packed with French officers, buffoons in uniforms, evil pizarros, the whole gang of them. Ban this, censor that, change the name. Leonora Fidelio, a rose is a rose by any other name, you jackasses. Imagine those French pawns expecting me to create art while being led by the notes. Well, I let them have it. In no uncertain terms, I told those blockheads, Beethoven is nobody's puppet, guillotine me if you will, but leave my opera alone.
B. The gore-bellied critics were by far your worst enemies.
Why, doesn't Herr Beethoven realize the woodwinds can't play that? He needs to revise the libretto, quicken the text, revise it again and again and again and again.
An Italian-style opera.
Written in German.
About a French subject.
Set in Spain.
It is no wonder the whole bloody mess left you with nothing but diarrhea, double deafness, and debts.
Had Stefan not stepped in to revise the whole damn libretto, God knows what would have become of it. Stefan, that's who I need now. He'll know what I as a father should do.
Ab initio, the von Breunings were dead set against you, taking wholly to yourself, Karl. Time and time again they warned you, the child needs his mother.
I truly believed I could be both mother and father to him. God knows I was that to his father. I regarded Kay as one of my own. I ignored all gossip, all pettiness for the sake of that holy cause.
Perhaps if you had a wife to help you.
Damn you! To be alone like this was never my fault, nor was it ever my choice. People say he hates women. I just look at what he did to Carl's mother. Shame on him for dragging that poor woman in and out of court for 5 years. The nerve of him to think he had the right to take her own child away. Me? Hate women? Never. Why, I adore them. I've viewed them as great works of art. Goddesses, earth mothers, nymphs, bakshants. Or they'll say he took the advice of his mother, who drummed into his head, never marry. Listen to me, never marry. Never, 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 never. God knows Hannah made a noble V-O-N Beethoven, not a Belgian V-A-N Beethoven. I'd have bitten that bullet all right. Dear God in heaven, was she ever more than a chimera? A she-ghost haunting the very hollows of my heart? Joyously joining together in blessed nights, with tender caresses softly erasing the torment of of the gentle soul, our hope, lift me with strength. Josephina.
The horse in the hair market would miss you more than she ever did. But take heart, B. Surely the police would miss you. Who would those treacherous dogs arrest as a vagrant if you stopped roaming their padlocked streets?
And dear, dear Prince Metternich, my beloved despot, I'm sure he would cry for me as well.
Oh, in a heartbeat, that tyrant would have his secret police assassinate you.
If he thought he could get away with it.
Herr Beethoven, one must remember not to speak too loudly,
or the police will give you lodging for the night.
Perhaps your fans would miss you.
They've all forsaken me.
Your fellow musicians?
They don't even play my symphonies anymore. Too loud, too long, too this, too that.
Why play your solo pieces when they could play their own watered-down little ditties?
Give me courage. Apollo, once upon a time, I truly believed you'd made me one of the immortals. Wrong again. Even in this lifetime, no one cares for me anymore.
Why, they mock and scorn you, call you a madman, a raving maniac.
Why, Herr Beethoven's so crazy, he even tells people he's the bastard son of the King of Prussia. You fools, I only made that up so they'd stop asking about my real father, the King of the Bacchanalia. And money. He's absolutely obsessed with it.
Wrong. One has to have money to obsess about.
Money? I have none. When the inflation wasn't bleeding me dry, the currency changes were putting me in the poorhouse, not to mention my nephew, and his needs, and the custody battle nearly bankrupting me. And the coming and going of my patrons, the prince's royal pains in my ass, all of them. In a nutshell, I'm left with virtually nothing.
How you dread the beginning of long works.
Yes, and rightfully so, for whenever I endeavor to express my exalted emotions through music, I stop myself, convinced no man born of flesh shall ever create anything as worthy as the heavenly images above. When I sit and contemplate God's sky and wonder, I feel my spirit rise toward the constellations, toward that primal source from which all creations flow. Music must first come from above, then mix alchemically with the human heart and soul, lest it remain nothing but notes, body without spirit, noise. Pray formally. Is that why my life is in shambles? Because I'm a fallen Catholic? Because I've worshipped you in the temple of nature and not in a man-made church? Because I practice my own brand of mishmash religion, taking some things from the East, some things from the West, some things from the past, some things from days yet to come? Surely you must realize that everything I composed was a prayer for you, for all mankind. It wasn't just about me. All right. Perhaps in the beginning it was all about me, when I was a young fool and fame and fortune seemed all too fantastic. Perhaps then I was a musical usurer in art, caring only to enrich myself. But that feeling was short-lived. Before long, I could no longer hear the applause heaped upon me. I could no longer lose myself in idle gibble-gabble. With all due humility, my lord, I state that I was one of the greatest piano players of all time, not just today. They said, he plays like no one else. God's blessing bestowed upon the self-taught, absolute originality. Surely you must remember how my playing could terrify whole audiences with its power, move grown men to tears. And to think, I made it up as I went along. But all that's gone. Disappeared without a trace, like vanishing fog, like melting snow, like everything I've ever held dear to me. Gone. Dear Lord, I do understand why you wanted me married to my composition. Why you'd allow no adulteress to compete for my affection. Why you wanted me concentrated on creating works that would last for all days, not just for today. Why you taketh away my power to hear the tumultuous yet all too tempting cacophony of this earth. You forced me to turn my ear inward and beyond, to hear your divine orchestra, your heavenly choir, your voice. My deafness and my isolation were blessings after all. More evidence of your mysterious way. Did I fail you like she failed me? I never betrayed you, Josephina. I never forsook you. Not even now, when you are no more. I never broke our vow of silence. I will keep our word to death and beyond. Dear God, how many times in this wretched life have I been brought to my knees? Dear Lord, look down upon me and do not let it continue like this much longer. Oh, hear me, dear God, hear me. Where art thou, my muse, my genie, my angel, my all? If I am indeed in hell, where is my Virgil, my Beatrice, my Josephina to guide my way?
Bang, 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 bang!
No, Carl, no. Haunted. Haunted. I am a haunted man. For brief moments I may soar above it all in the sphere of my art. Still the low spirits of this earth manage to drag me down again. It's not a couple of notes booing about my head, it's some fragment from the past. A drunken slap, an accolade, a reprimand, the sound of doors slamming, the roar of boxed ears. The sound of my dear mother's voice crying out in the middle of the night, "Johann, no! Please, no, no!" As often as the wind whirls, so do the sounds whirl about me, and so too does it whirl deep within my very soul, this shame. Shame that shadows me, nameless guilt that stalks. Thoughts like thunderstorms, thoughts like tempests, no, thoughts like tornadoes. Even she is but a phantom that haunts the very depth of my soul. Time and time again, I waxed my ears as to not hear her siren song. Still, I hear it here. Always I'll hear it here. Torturous, by far more torturous are the visions, fantastic images, flashing, flickering, then flaring full force. Ah yes, that is what really plagues me. Drives me to distraction. Drives me to drink. And now my Carl. Add that monstrous moment to all the rest. Peace, dear Lord, peace. Must I wait for the grave to find that? Pray like Brother Willibald taught you. I believe in one true God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth and of all things visible and invisible. How dare you tell everyone my uncle doesn't understand how I feel? The hell I don't!
My uncle knows nothing about love? Damn you, Carl! My music! Listen to my music! You're remembering the Countess, how she loved you, yet married the old Count. The old coup drops dead, so she runs back to you. Before long, her gypsy soul cries out for freedom. No, her damned noble blood hungered for an even grander title. Off she went, gallivanting around Europe, giving birth out of wedlock, then joining in holy matrimony with the baron that begot the bastard. Stop, 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 stop!
be or not to be? That, my dear nephew, was always the question. I've never shown these to anyone, but this afternoon I was going to show them to you, but no, you'd have none of me. How you cursed your tongue out at me. You sounded just like your mother, the queen of the night. What a sight you were, laying there, your pig head wrapped in bloody bandages, laying there in your mother's arms like she was the Blessed Virgin, and you, her only begotten son. I had to go back to that slut house right now and kick down the damn door. Let the witch call the damn police. It's not me who's going to jail, oh son, it's you. So you were ashamed of me? I embarrass you all the time? You were sick of my constant checking on you? Sick of my henchman Holes always following you around? You were weary of imprisonment with me? Imprisonment! I ought to box your blasphemous ears. Just think of all the time and money I wasted in court to keep you from that harlot you call mother. And this is how you thank me? My heart bleeds for all the music not created because of you, lost forever. You know better than your uncle or your ass of a father, for that matter, ingrates. When I was younger than you, I became both breadwinner and wet nurse to this pair of gutter snipes. So don't think for a minute that I didn't want to crumble under the weight of all that. But I didn't, did I? I did what I had to do. As for you, false son, you can't even handle your own damn school exams. But you have the nerve to tell that fat-ass police magistrate how I tormented you. Did you bother to tell that buffoon uniform how much you tortured me? Just think. Oh God. Just think of the Catholic Church. You heard what those uniformed buffoons said? Under Austrian code, attempted suicide is a crime against the church. Damn the church. It's a crime against God, against your father, against me. To hell with the Catholic Church. I wrote these when I was a little older than you, Carl. I imagined myself Plutarch writing one of his letter essays. Perhaps I'll destroy it, let them make a god of me. Still, when I'm 6 feet under, I want the world to know the truth, to know the real me, the man who lived and loved and cried and suffered like all mortal men. He was no son of God, no nobleman's child. He was just a man who did what he was destined to do. My biographers, the scholars, the great academics, God forbid that snake Schindler should attempt such a thing. That'll be a great work of fiction, I'm sure. He'll cast himself as my right arm, my Lord and Savior, instead of another thorn in my side. The hell with Schindler. All my other biographers will argue and write long-winded essays pondering why I wrote to my brother's Carl, and yet left a big blank where your uncle's name should be. Was he crazy? No, I was not crazy. I simply refused to acknowledge the name my brother, the chemist, began using. His middle name, my father's name. Consider it a great blessing that your grandfather, the tyrant, the second-rate tenor, drank himself to death long before you were ever born. As long as there is a breath in my body, I'll never call him that, never conjure up the ghastly memories that name brings forth. I left all that behind and gone and never looked back. In Vienna, I created a new Beethoven. Better a bastard son of a king than a genuine son of Satan. Heiligenstadt and hopelessness. I went there, yonder, not of my own accord, but following the advice of my doctor. Stay through the fall, Ludwig. The quiet, the seclusion, the rest, it will do wonders for your hearing. Dr. Schmidt, kind as you were, your advice brought me to the brink of despair. Day after abridging day, night after elongating night, I stayed in exile in that ramshackle spook house. In daymares, Mozart's spirit roamed the floors humming his Masonic funeral music. In nightmares, Haydn called me an atheist and scolded me for my continual mistakes in counterpoint. Get out of here, you old fool! Drop dead, Papa Haydn! I will not make mere musical skeletons for you or for anyone else. In my mind's ear, yes, dear God, in my mind's ear, I can still hear that quartet. Through my music, I can spiral back through time. The century is not yet turned. I am not old, I am not deaf. She is not dead. Yes, for a flash, all that was good can be again. I am no longer surrounded by ruin. I'm once again on the 3rd floor of the house on St. Peter's Place. I'm no longer disgusted with myself, with my lot, no. I'm quite smitten with myself for having just completed my quartet. Bravo, Beethoven! Drenched with sweat after laboring over my Simonic quartet all morning, I baptized my steamy head with a pitcher of ice water, put my feet upon my desk, closed my eyes, and pictured that piece being played by a band of gypsies. What fun I had envisioning 3 beautiful gypsy girls dancing around me. A moment later, I hear 3 cackling women, Hungarian accents. They have heavy Hungarian accents. I open my eyes and picture them dressed, not as they were impeccably in the latest fashions of the times, but in some gypsy garb. They look at me like I'm quite mad, and that makes me laugh all the more. Finally, the old shrew speaks. It is my deepest desire, Herr Beethoven, that you give my daughters, Countess Teresa and Countess Josefina, pianoforte lessons for the first few weeks we are in Vienna. Behind my back, that nervy wench had arranged for her daughter's marriage. Didn't matter that the old coot was old enough to be Josefina's father. It didn't matter that she didn't love him. She was falling in love with me, and I with her. What counted was that he was a count. But he turned out to be a poor one. The best laid plans. Ha! Why did you stay with him, Josefina? Even your mother said get out, so why stay? Because of vows? Vows based on what? Love? No. Because of the children? Hypocrisy. Your false marriage, coupled with my all too real deafness, left me at the brink of suicide. To my brothers Karl and blank Beethoven. Heiligenstadt, October 6th, 1802. O ye who think or declare me to be hostile, morose, and misanthropical, how unjust you are, and how little you know the secret cause of what appears thus to you. My heart and mind were ever from childhood prone to the most tender feelings of affection, and I was always disposed to accomplish something great. But you must remember that 6 years ago I was attacked by an incurable malady, aggravated by unskillful physicians, diluted from year to year too by the hope of relief, and at length forced to the conviction of a lasting affliction, the cure of which may go on for years and perhaps after all prove to be impracticable. Born with a passionate and excitable temperament, keenly susceptible to the pleasures of society, I was yet obliged early in life to isolate myself and pass my existence in solitude. If I at any time resolved to surmount all this, oh, how cruelly was I again repelled by the experience, sadder than ever, of my defective hearing. And yet I found it impossible to say to others, speak louder, shout, for I am deaf. Alas, how could I proclaim the deficiency of a sense which ought to have been more perfect with me than with other men? A sense which I once possessed in the highest perfection, to an extent, indeed, that few of my profession ever enjoyed. Alas, I cannot do this. Forgive me, therefore, when you see me withdraw from you with whom I would so gladly mingle. My misfortune is doubly severe from causing me to be misunderstood. longer can I enjoy recreation and social intercourse, refined conversation, or mutual outpourings of thought. Completely isolated, I only enter society when compelled to do so. I must live like an exile. In company, I am assailed by the most painful apprehensions, from the dread of being exposed to the risk of my condition being observed. What humiliation when anyone beside me heard a flute in the far distance while I heard nothing, or when others heard a shepherd singing and I still heard nothing. Such things brought me to the verge of desperation and well-nigh caused me to put an end to my life. Art alone deterred me. How could I possibly quit the world before bringing forth all that I felt it was my vocation to produce? And thus, I spared this miserable life, so utterly miserable that any sudden change may reduce me at any moment from my best condition into the worst. It is decreed that I must now choose patience for my guide. This I have done. I hope the resolve will not fail me steadfastly to persevere till it may please the inexorable fates to cut the thread of my life. Perhaps I may get better, perhaps not. I am prepared for either. Constrained to become a philosopher in my 28th year. This is no slight trial, and more severe on an artist than on anyone else. God looks into my heart. He searches it and knows that love for man and feelings of benevolence have their abode there. O ye who may one day read this, think that you have done me injustice, and let anyone similarly afflicted be consoled by finding one like himself who, in defiance of all the obstacles of nature, has done all in his power to be included in the ranks of estimable artists and men.
4 days later, you wrote again to your brothers another letter. Thus, then, I take leave of you, and with sadness too. The fond hope I brought with me here of being to a certain degree cured now utterly forsakes me. As autumn leaves fall and wither, so are my hopes blighted. Almost as I came, I depart. Even the lofty courage that so often animated me in the lovely days of summer is gone forever. O Providence, vouchsafe me one day of pure felicity. How long have I been estranged from the glad echo of true joy? When, oh my God, when shall I again feel it in the temple of nature and of man? Never? That would be too hard.
To be or not to be? Yes, yes, and 1,000 times yes. That is always the question.
Maria Magdalena von Beethoven, 1746 to 1787. Drunken father Johann von Beethoven, 1739 to 1792. The beloved Countess Josephina Dean Steckeler, née Brunswick, 1779 to 1821. Beloved brother Caspar Anton Karl von Beethoven, 1774 to 1815, father of Karl. Unknown older brother Ludwig Maria von Beethoven, born April 1769 and died 6 days later. Beloved baby sister Anna Maria Franziska von Beethoven, born February 1779 and died 4 days later. Beloved baby brother Franz Georg von Beethoven, 1781 to 1783. Beloved baby sister Maria Margareta Josefina von Beethoven, 1786 to 1787.
Carl, my dearest, dearest Carl, you are not dead, no, not you. Memento Domine famulorum famularumque tuarum, Carl. My nephew, no, my son. You say you hated the way I treated your mother, but did she give me any choice? Oh Lord, Thou canst see into my very heart. God, my refuge, my rock, Thou knowest, had it been possible to do that which I must, without offending the widow, I would have done so. Carl, by the grace of God, you are still with me. But all the others long gone. Mother, my dearest, dearest mother, it seems like an eternity since I could utter the sweet name Mother and hear your kind and loving voice in return. Mercifully, you still live in the silent images evoked by the power of imagination. Had I only known how ill you really were. God, how old was I really back then? 15? 17? Damn you, Papa, you lied so much about my age, even I lost count. I had to be a prodigy, a boy wonder bigger than Mozart.
But he never let you be a child, beating and berating you in private.
Exalting and eulogizing me in public behind closed doors, forcing me to practice till my fingers bled and my heart wept. And still, he'd smack my hands with a stick and scream in my ears, "You are an ingrate, an imbecile, a son of a bitch."
Remember the fourth commandment, B.
I must have been all of 17 when all alone I set out for Vienna. God, what a sorry sight I must have been. Allow me to introduce myself, Ludwig van Beethoven, the bewigged and bony bumpkin from Bonn.
After all the planning and preparation, 2 short weeks in Vienna was all Providence permitted.
Ah, but what a grand 2 weeks it was. Meeting the Emperor Joseph.
Performing for Mozart.
And knowing in my heart I had given him something to talk about. Ah, Wolfgang, what a shame you died before I got the chance to really study with you.
Instead, you did hard time with Papa Hayden.
When the letter from Father came, I thought all hell must have frozen over for him to write to me.
Hurry home. Mother is dying and the children are driving me mad.
Memories. Haunting memories.
witness your delirium. Hear you ask over and over again, how is Franz? Did Franz eat his breakfast? I couldn't bear to tell you. Your precious son was long dead and buried. In your delusions, or was it in the comfort of your dying dreams that he still lived, still played in the kitchen, still crawled into your bed at night, still called for his mama? How could I put you through those dark days of his dying again? I couldn't. I wouldn't. I didn't. And so I lied 1,000 times over the course of those wasting away weeks. Yes, he has his appetite back. Yes, he asks for you. Why can't I bring him to you? Why, the doctor says we can't risk him catching consumption now, can we? Yes, we both know how frail he is. Papa, how is Papa? Fine, just fine. Is he drinking? Oh no. Knows he must be strong for the sake of the children. How is baby Margareta? Oh, she's doing fine too. Fine. God knows she wasn't fine. 4 months later, the death knell sounded again, this time for you, my dear beloved baby sister. Margareta, I swear you died of a broken heart. There was no consoling you. Motherless, you refused to eat, to sleep, to live. Day after day, you lay helpless, staring into the great nothingness. Night after night you screamed and cried and raged. But there was nothing, absolutely nothing I could do for you. Helpless. I was utterly helpless to save you. To save our mother, and to save our father from himself. That first short trip to Vienna yielded nothing but death, debts, and despair.
God, the cross I carried back then, babying and bullying and bailing out my father. Little more than a child myself, yet forced to father and mother my 2 brothers. Endure is all I could do. Endure and mourn and grieve. All alone I bore the anger, I bore the shame, the poverty, the grief, till I could bear to hear no more of my brothers weeping, my father's rantings, and the bill collectors banging at the door. Life is loss after loss after loss, more than any man can bear. Had it not been for my art, I would have ended it long ago, but I swore someday I would make music that would make people forget their woes and their weeping, make them feel that this god-awful life was somehow worth living, make them find the will to go on even after all hope was gone. And now, I can't even hear my own music anymore, except here, in the bloody alleys of my heart. Tell me, who can I lean on? Who can I turn to for solace? With whom can I share my tears?
shall these words endure simply unheard? Sigh the winds of separation, dreaming, daring to embrace. The vibration of my heartstrings, strumming softly o'er blue skies, true soulmates willfully bonded, love remains, retains its ties. No power of man on earth may conquer this purest quest, such clarity. There's no question, no hesitation, no doubt we'll love eternally. Thou art worthy of perfection, or adoration's meant to be. You're my everything for always, and so forever I am with thee.
Why, Carl? Why because of me? God saved us and so. True, for some time I may have been at my wit's end over you. Yes, we all know how I could lose my temper now and again over your abominable ingratitude, your wretched way of life. Lord knows you were trying to kill me before my time. God is my witness, it was not for me that I fretted, no, it was for you that my heart bled. I wanted you to be an artist or a scholar, to live a higher life and not sink down into utter vulgarity. I tried to do the best I could for you, and upon this I can appear before the mightiest of all judges. You know in your heart that I always sought the highest of counsel in my dealings with you. Why, just recently when Friedrich Wieck came to visit, much of our conversation revolved around you. When I began telling him how you could lie to my face, he kept insisting I should stand by my guns, be firm with the boy. According to him, his daughter Clara is a prodigy. Heaven help the little girl, she's barely 7, yet he drills her to death on my piano pieces. God forgive me for that. Someday, my Clara will play your Appassionata the way it was meant to be played. Clara is totally obsessed with her. I tried to tell him to allow the child to sometimes be just that, a child. And yet he's determined to make her a great virtuosa. All I told him in no uncertain terms is that a great virtuosa is not made. No, a great virtuosa is born. Yes, no doubt we can help those who are gifted, but we cannot bestow the gift itself. It's God-given. He laughed at that. Pompous ass. No wonder his Clara pretended to be deaf, refusing to talk till she was 4. There's no talking to him anyway. If the child is indeed as good as he says she is, my bet is she was never deaf at all, just smart enough to turn a deaf ear to that old windbag. God, an hour in a room with that braggart and I was suffocating. A walk. I needed to go for a walk, and to that he agreed, insisting that he, like me, enjoys a good afternoon walk. He always takes his Clara along. I was hoping the fresh air might unbutton him a bit, get him to open up about his divorce, about his ex-wife, Mariana. But I'm afraid the man had nothing good to say about her, or his colleague, the man she ran off with. I said, Friedrich, Well, you must take some responsibility for all this while you left Mariana alone too much with Adolf. You can never trust a woman with her male piano teacher. Big laughed at that. Pompous ass. Why, I'm sure at some time Mariana had been a student of yours. Fried merely shook his head in acknowledgement. So you see, Friedrich, music is truly a dangerous thing. And most of my lessons of the heart were learned at the piano bench by teaching pretty countesses to play, or more accurately, by not teaching them to play. We nearly burst an artery. Bravo, Mariana, I said to myself. How brave it must be to say, to hell with convention. What a joy to proclaim, let them think what they think, for we know what we know. So many of the women in my life have been like Mariana. Passionate creatures bridled by arranged marriages based on convenience, made by families and busybodies, brought on by status, money, or both. Love, I shouted. Where does love fit into this equation? Love should be the only reason one should marry. Love and companionship. Vik had a fit right there on the street, screaming how he has gotten even with her. I took the children. They are, after all, my property. Children are not chattel, I raged back at him. You are not a father, you are a slave owner. A feudal lord, a tyrant. It takes great courage to follow your heart. My soul wept for Mariana. Heavenly Father, if it is your will as it is mine, make my music guide Clara back to her mother. If that should happen, I shan't have lived in vain. A half-decade ago, had it not been for your Carl, for your being his guardian, for your absolute belief in the sacredness of that duty, you would have... So long as you walk this wretched earth, my heart held out, had hope, but all that died with you. Josefina, again and again and again you devastated me, your infamous da capo alla coda. Damn you. Time and time again, you abandoned me. And I plunged headfirst into that bottomless abyss. Over and over again, I managed to claw my way back into the light of day. And time again, you returned just long enough to push me back off that precipice. You were but 6 months in the grave, and I, having been interred alive, was still digging out. That autumn, all alone in Bowden, I wept and wept and wept as I pictured the leaves, so recently aglow with flaming colors, crumbling, falling to their graveyard ground, then whirling, dancing like dervishes round and round in one last delirious dance to macabre. To me, the fall has always been awake. A time to bid farewell, get blind drunk, and weep. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. After much too much Rhine wine, I miraculously passed out, only to be revived by a knock so ominous, I thought surely it must be the angel of death. Yet it was only your brother. Franz looked like some supernatural being, ghost-like. Something right out of Hamlet, ashen and demon-possessed, haunted by the need to get to me as quickly as possible. To hell with the cold, driving rain and the dire warnings not to travel that night. Teresa said, I must get these to you. She could not bring herself to destroy them, yet she feared the consequences should they get into the wrong hands. I took one look at these. I had not seen them in nearly a decade, yet I knew exactly what they were. I feared touching them, lest they crumble before me like a trio of fallen leaves. Where did you get these? Franz said something, but suddenly I couldn't hear him. You and my damned hearing, two birds of a feather, you came and you went without warning, leaving me time and time again in that black hole. Write it down, damn it, write it down! Why was I shouting? He was not the deaf one. found these beside our sister the day she died. Teresa said, you must give them to Luigi. Beethoven must know how Pepe really felt. He must know how she suffered, how their love went on and on and on. How Josefina longed for him even until the end. And he tore the page out of the book, threw it into the fire, and was gone. Like a phantom, like my hearing, like you. Again, I began drinking. And I kept on drinking and drinking and drinking. Then I threw on my old top coat, shoved these letters into my pocket, and began walking. Everything felt real. Everything was dark, dark as death. My feet were cold, blistering, and drenched. My teeth were chattering still. I could not stop myself from walking. 1812, 1821, 1812, 1821, 1812 hammered into my head. 1821 engraved upon your tombstone. 1812 carved upon my heart. Like an answer to my prayers, you were through with the Baron. I was awestruck, I was frightened. Financially, it had not been a good year for you or for me, for the rest of Austria for that matter. We would have your 4 children plus the Baron's bastard to support. Not to mention you, my beloved, whose exalted tastes ran extravagant. Could I really afford to feed 6 more mouths? Could you really bear to lose your precious titles, perhaps even your children? Questions, questions, questions. Damn it to hell. Love. Wasn't that supposed to be the answer? Morning, 6th July. My angel, my all, my second self. Only a few words today, written with a pencil with thine. Why this deep sorrow where necessity speaks? Can our love exist otherwise than by sacrifices, than by our not expecting everything? Canst thou alter the fact that thou art not wholly mine, that I am not wholly thine? Alas, look into the beauties of nature and calm thy mind for what must be endured. Love demands all, and with perfect right. We shall probably soon see each other again. I cannot communicate to thee today the reflections I have been making during the last few days on my life. Were our hearts ever near to one another, I should make none such. My heart is full of much that I have to say to thee. Ah, there are moments in which I feel that language is absolutely nothing. Take courage. Continue to be my true, my only treasure, my all as I am thine. The gods must send the rest. That which is ordained to be and shall be for us. Thy faithful Ludwig. Monday evening, 6th July. Thou grievest, thou the dearest of all beings. Ah, where I am, there thou art with me. With our united efforts I shall attain my object. I shall pass my life with thee. What a life, whereas now, where, without thee, persecuted at times by the kindness of others, a kindness which I neither deserve nor wish to deserve. Servility from man to his fellow creature pains me, and when I consider myself in relation to the universe, what am I? What is he who is called the greatest? And yet, even here is displayed the divine in man. I weep when I think that thou will probably receive no tidings of me before Saturday. However much thou mayest love me, I love thee more fervent, thee still. Never hide thy feelings from me. Good night. Oh God, so near, so far apart. Is not our love a true celestial mansion, enduring as the vault of heaven itself? Seventh July. Good morning. Even before I rise, my thoughts go out to thee, my immortal beloved. At times with joy, then again mournfully, waiting to hear if fate be favorable to us. I can only live entirely with thee or not at all. Yes, I am resolved to wander apart from thee until the moment shall arrive when I may fly into thine arms, may feel my home in thee, and send my soul encompassed by thine into the world of spirits. Yes, alas, it must be so. Thou wilt be prepared, for thou knowest my faithfulness. Never can another possess my heart, never, never. Oh God, why must I fly from what is so dear to me, and yet my life in Vienna is, as at the present, a sorrowful one. Thy love made me at once the happiest and the most miserable of men. Angel, be calm. Only by calmly viewing our existence can we attain our aim of passing our lives together. Be calm. Love me today, yesterday, what longing, what tears for thee, for thee, for thee, my life, my all. Oh, continue to love me, never misjudge the faithful heart of thy lover. Ever thine, ever mine, ever ours.
There is no pain so great as the memory of joy that can never be revisited.
When writing my music, I'd often ask, what if two people fell passionately in love? It must be, yes, it must be. And yet they tell themselves, no, it cannot be. What happens to that love when it burrows underground? What is it to know where the key to the universe is? To know where the love you've always wanted is, and to know so long as you walk this earth, you can never have it again. What is it? It is pain without end.
Still, be contained within that pain is pure joy, knowing for one moment you and she basked in the presence of the divine, witnessing all that is sacred and holy and eternal. It was as if the whole universe opened up before me, and I could feel every emotion under the sun. I could feel the chaos, the order, the absolute rightness, the wrongness, the rapture, the pain, and oh God, the longing, the agony. Such bliss, such sorrow, the oneness, the separation, the salvation, the damnation, the hello, the goodbye, the commitment, the betrayal, the joining, the splitting, the crucifixion, the resurrection, the wanting, the not wanting, the moving toward, the rushing away, the innocent, the guilt, the moment of truth, the lies, the courage, the cowardice, the strength, the weakness, the fullness, the emptiness, the light, the dark, laughter, tears, compassion, cruelty, rejoicing, remorse, the rebellion, the surrender, the clear sight, and the blindness, the music, and the deafening silence that echoed from here to hell and back. And yes, damn it, I knew, even as I wrote these letters, that I was filled with all the self-same doubts and fears that she was. Even then I knew I could never forget the love. And yet I knew in my heart of hearts that all we were ever going to have was that one clandestine day of passion. One moment where time stood still, one sizzling summer afternoon, to have, to hold, now and forevermore.
9 months later, April 8th, 1813, Minona was born. I went to Josefina demanding to know if Minona were my daughter.
I really don't know whose child she is.
What the hell does that mean?
You were like a madman.
You were still sleeping with your husband when you came to me?
She would not answer you.
Perhaps Minona was immaculately conceived.
More likely Satan's daughter incarnate.
She's the bastard child of the King of Prussia, for all I know.
She made me swear on my mother's grave never to come for Minona. We vowed to carry our secret, to to death and beyond, to protect Minona and the other children, to save our reputations, to preserve her precious titles?
Titles? 50 years from now, no one will remember her count nor her baron. You offered her your immortal name.
And she turned it down. That night when Franz returned these letters to me, I went into a trance. I walked and walked and walked.
You wanted to fall off the face of the earth.
Hours and hours later, dazed and spent, I stopped people on the street to ask directions. I'm Beethoven. I seem to have lost my way. Everyone just said asinine things like,
I'm Marie Antoinette. I seem to have lost my head.
I'm Napoleon. I seem to have lost my empire.
everyone the jester, everyone the fool. Enraged, I began banging on house windows and doors. Before long, those village idiots had me thrown in jail. I'm Beethoven! The arresting Arch-ass shouted back at me, "Why, you are not Beethoven, why, you are a tramp!" Hour after hour, I sat in solitary confinement, proclaiming my innocence. Totally spent, I screamed at the top of my lungs Florestan's aria. "O heaven, such bleak darkness, what dreadful nothingness! Deserts surrounding me, no other sign of life here. Tiresome tribulations, thy will be done, I need not pray. In the springtime of my life, all joy perished, truth was spoken, prison is my payment. This cross I resign myself to carry, and I willingly die for my cause." And then, just as Florestan had witnessed a vision of his Leonora coming to rescue him, I saw my beloved Josefina.
Enough, B. Enough already. Stop torturing yourself. The past is gone. Deal with what is. Go home. Face what you must face.
What can I say to my Carl to make him want to live? God knows it was my art, my music that saved me.
Carl is no artist.
Nor will he ever be. Not now, not ever.
You must speak to him man to man, heart to heart.
I will tell him so long as we have one good deed left in us, and it is our sacred duty to live.
Go to Stefan.
I saw his wife on the glacis right before I came here. I asked her, "Why, have you heard the news? My Carl shot himself. There's still hope he may survive, but what about me? He's brought such shame upon me."
She said she'd sent for her husband. He'll know how to handle the authorities.
Yes. Yes. Stefan is the answer to my prayers.
Your nephew always admired Stefan for being a court counselor in the War Department and all.
To Carl, that means something grand. As for me, his guardian, I only make music. Who cares? Real men make war.
Stefan will help get your nephew in the army. That is what Carl says he wants. Perhaps he can avoid going to jail then.
The jail or army, same difference. God save you, Carl. God save us all.
Remember when 3 great hymns from the Missa Solemnis were performed along with the premiere of your 9th? Why, you couldn't even hear the audience's applause.
Who needed their applause? I heard God's praise on high. Bravo, Beethoven, bravo. My beloved Missa Solemnis, from the heart may it return to the heart. I grieve knowing I shan't live long enough to hear a complete performance of my high mass, and I shall long be rotted in the grave before God hears the collective voice of mankind sing Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccatum mundi, dona nobis pacem.
Unexpected visit on the 8th of April, 1818, Ninona's 5th birthday.
It's my reward.
Regretfully, I never sent these words to you, though God knows I should have. Language fails me. How do I find the words to describe the unfathomable musings of the soul? You be blessed with your musical notes, have discovered an all-embracing way to do so. As for me, I can only express myself in phrases, pauses, beats and pieces, and only on those fleeting occasions like today, when I can find the inner peace to do so. Tearing myself away from the earthly prison surrounding me, in those precious, solitary moments, our weary souls commune, silently, secretly, serenely, always up in the shadows. Only there do you and I, we still exist. I would not have scribbled these words today had I not hoped to honor your request, your deepest desire, your heartfelt wish. Oh, your surprise appearance aroused such ethereal feelings in me, so deep and tender, that mere words cannot do them justice. None of us truly has the ability to comprehend why we do what we do, say, act upon, or deny. When we were as one, the Almighty was in the breast of each of us. The stars in heaven above, also a part of each of us. But once thrust apart, broken and unhinged, we continually spiral downward into darkness. Today, we stood eye to eye, heartbeat to heartbeat, breath to breath, witnessing what we had individually, separately, collectively annihilated. Happy, sadly, you are not. Etherized, embalmed, empty and longing, you have been living in a perpetual state of sorrow. The book of life that houses our remembrances often reveals itself to you. Sometimes in stark black and white, often in varying shades of gray, now and again in flaming colors. And you have perused this book, studied it, judged it, dissected it piece by piece, with God as your witness. And you have drawn from all of those scarred memories, jewel after jewel after jewel, gifting these precious gems to the world. To become one with each other, we must first become one with the Almighty. This endless longing for oneness is the only truth. All else, worthless, formless, nothingness. Thankfully, we are heading toward the sacred resting place where eternal union can be possible. Why, I have asked myself over and over again, hasn't my very soul, my immortal soul, utterly and completely manifested itself to you? I fathom that our spirit's shortcoming is that it